What's up, guys? So, in addition to posting articles, I'm going to be trying to post some videos up as well on topics I find interesting. And for this video, I want to talk about suicide a little bit. Suicide's a pretty sensitive topic, and it's been a pretty prevalent issue in our community for the past couple of years. And the reason I want to talk about suicide is that yesterday I was reading an article on Tim Ferriss's blog. For those of you who don't know, Tim Ferriss is a super successful podcaster, author, blogger. And in the blog article, he writes about how at one point in his life, he wasn't this big shot. He actually wanted to commit suicide himself. It was his senior year at Princeton. He was 21 years old, and his graduation had been delayed by 1 year. His girlfriend had just broken up with him, and life was just going downhill. And so, he decides he's going to do it. He plans out 4 different ways where he's going to do it, 4 different possible options. And in his article post, he writes that he at that moment in time, he was past the point of deciding about whether he wanted to kill himself. It was an obvious decision to him. And so he's about to do it. And then his mom gets a call from the library that Tim's been checking out a lot of books on suicide because he was reading a lot about it and studying it. And his mom was like, "What are you doing?" And Tim was like, "Oh, those are just for research purposes." And his mom kind of believes him. But despite that, when he has that conversation and realizes that if he goes through with this, he's going to spiritually destroy his parents and all the people that love him if he kills himself. So he just doesn't do it. And he takes a year off Princeton. He takes care of himself physically and mentally, comes back better than ever, graduates in the year 2000, and goes on to become this amazing self-help guru who's changed probably millions of people's lives, honestly. And Tim's story isn't unique. Joe Rogan, a fantastic podcaster himself, UFC commentator, stand-up comic, says that when he was in his early 20s, many times he wanted to throw himself out of a window, yet he didn't. And he's done amazing things with his life, and he has lots of friends today. Craig Ferguson is another guy. When he was 29, he woke up top floor of a pub, covered in his own urine because he'd been drinking so much. He'd been an alcohol addict for most of his life. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm a loser, I'm going to do it, I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to jump off the London Bridge." As he's walking out of the pub owner says, "Hey, let's have one more drink." He forgets about committing suicide that day, and now look, his life has been on a constant upwards spiral. Published his own book. Also helped thousands of millions of people through his story. And what I think is even more interesting than the fact that these guys have been able to have this 360 turnaround is that they've almost created a blueprint or a set of rules in order to help other people who are going through tough times, also do this 360 turnaround and improve their life. For example, Tim Ferriss in his blog post writes 15 steps that he does, almost like a routine he does every day in order to maximize his happiness and prevent, all the mood swings he has. He eats foods that don't cause blood sugar swings. He wakes up an hour before his day starts and doesn't use any social media, any email, drinks tea, meditates, writes down things that he's grateful for. This I found really interesting. He writes down 2 or 3 things that are making him very anxious, and he sets out a 2 to 3 hour block in order to just take care of one of the things that's making him anxious. Joe Rogan is another guy who's created rules for people to follow in order to improve their life. His 3 rules are: he tries to be as nice as possible to everyone. His method of thinking is that really everyone is just really you, but gone through different experiences. So if you see somebody on the street who's a bit messed up, maybe it's just because that could be you if you had gone through their experiences. So really we're all the same person, but we've been nurtured in different ways. So he tries to be nice to everybody. He eats clean. He works out every day. And he does what he wants with his life. He does things that are interesting. He does a lot of bow hunting, comedy. He does things that he finds intellectually stimulating and exciting. Craig Ferguson is another guy. He talks about the importance of surrounding yourself with people who have gone through the same tough situations as you and the same adversity as you. Like, he surrounded himself with people who had drinking problems, and that really helped him, not feel as bad and get through. So I hope this video helps you guys. Those are my thoughts on the topic of suicide.